Oh, so you got all these Asiatic Africans saying they Smith, Jones, Johnson, and Frankenstein, and they talk about freedom. It's an oxymoron. They don't go together. We're talking about legal. We're not talking about their emotions. Are you seeing? So any documents that are filed on behalf of such persons automatically becomes under the wardship of the state corporation. And that entity is treated as corporate property. It's called chattel. Isn't that simple breakdown? It's not complicated, is it? Is it? And once you understand it, you can understand your own concept that how you should start thinking on how to undo it. It's not complicated, is it? But if you don't look at it for what it actually is, it seems daunting. It may appear complicated when it's really not. It's just being yourself. It's because you can't transact business claiming to be someone else and not commit a fraud on your own part. And if you commit a fraud on your own part, you can't turn around and charge somebody else with a fraud and then sue them for it. You see the difficulty that so-called black people have getting reparations? I said so-called black people. Because it can't happen, because no such people exist on the planet Earth. If there's anybody on the planet Earth designated Negro, black, and color, it is already filed on the records of civilization as property of European families who colonized North America. And if you trace them, you can find a European name that they themselves will write and say it's them. So can that being turn around, come before a free court, before the civilized world, and command freedoms or the rights of international law for that security of that being? Cannot happen. Now you understand the Dred Scott case? Plaintiff in error. And scholars keep talking racism when that is not really the issue. It's a diversion. Plaintiff is in error, claiming to be Scots and Englishmen or Welshmen. So you got an Asiatic claiming to be Englishman, but talking about he's free from the Englishmen. You cannot dishonor your mothers and your fathers and then claim freedom, because your inheritance is in the mother and the father's names of your forefathers. And that's where the nations of the planet Earth put their trust. And so if there's any bond of honor or any covenant of honor, and you transact business in an alien name, don't talk about law, don't talk about justice, because the position is no judicio standi, no standing at law. Of course, out of ignorance, we would call it racism. Because we've been taught that, because they don't want you to figure out what really it is so you don't fix it. So even the one doing it to you will promote racism. You see the point? It's to their economic advantage. Do you see? And so when we're speaking with people on these issues, because they may give what appears to be a reasonable conversation, we can get fooled into thinking that they're trying to work something out. It is no problem at all, because math is one all over the planet. 1 and 1 is what? 2. 2 and 2 is what? 4. Uno. Dos. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't change. Because truth don't change or pass away. Beliefs come and go because they're not founded in truths. They're founded in emotion. So there's instability there, isn't it? And the root word in belief is lie. Do you understand? So when you deal with science and proper instruction, it has always been from ancient times to present that you begin with belief, because that's the state of mind of a child. It is not wrong. It's called evolution and development. And when you give a child something to look at, the child, because it has senses, sight, taste, smell, touching, and hearing, which are all sights. Collectively, it is a common sight that is called common sense, the highest science known to man. That science is used to gather information and to do what? Correlate that information into realities and confirmations. When you're in the first stages of development, it is not as sharp, although it is more pure. Not as sharp. So distinctions are less apt to be of issue. The child then just gathers. Just right now it's gathering. You see? And so because of that state of mind, we call it a minor. You following me? But the rules don't change. The truth don't change or pass away. When the child gets a little older, then it comes from belief to faith. And remember, this is a trinity of steps. Triune principle. And faith is when it has a little bit of understanding of what the child believed. It can discern and distinguish certain things, although not yet mastered. Then the last step is fruition. And fruition is when the being and the truth becomes one. Then the child is a man or a woman and no longer needs the childish things, and he puts them away. Doesn't cast them in the dirt. It's just saved for the next children. So a grown being is not supposed to be a believer of anything. However, if you tell people that right out, they'll think that you're attacking Allah, that you're attacking the prophets, that you have no respect for divine order. But it's only said out of ignorance. Then you understand the condition of the world, why it's in the condition it's in. But it's that way because those who have been ruling taught them that, to rob them, because they're money changers. You get the point? Because they're stealing your birthright. So therefore, the baby, right now, you're what she knows. And her daddy is what she knows. There's, she's starting to explore a little bit, but you're the center of her universe right now, right? And then when she gets 1.5, she's going to start testing the waters a little bit. And she gets 2, she gets pretty confident, because they're very sharp, right? Then they're going to start looking for little exercises of independence. Though they're not going to be independent for quite a while, they're going to start exercising. These are cycles, right? And so when the child's not sure, she's going to be holding on to stuff when she's trying to walk. And while she's going to take a couple steps, bump her head a little bit, That's why she's going to be confident, and she'll start looking at longer distance and start getting herself together and run across the room, grab something, oh, got this. After a while, you're going to be telling her to sit down. Right? And after a while, she's not going to be thinking about walking, she's just going to get up and walk. Then she's going to be running. Hey, ain't no big thing. Same thing with knowledge. It's evolutionary process. That's Eve. You see? So knowledge of the atmosphere, the knowledge of the planet, the knowledge of the energies, knowledge of the elements, and how they function together in relationship to your body, to yourself, and a knowledge of the chemical compound makeup of all of those energy that you call body salts, etc. That's religion, the study of that. And your relationship to the divine order. And everything else they've been giving people thereafter is a lie. That's why everybody's hating each other and shedding each other's blood for their idol gods that somebody gave them. Do you understand? Because every other living thing is your brother and sister. If you understand this thing properly. And then there is no debate. Not because you believe anything, because you stop being a little child. And someone doesn't come to you and say, well, sis, can you say your ABCs? And you go, let me see. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then you start getting a rhythm with it because you got it now, right? Well, I expect that of the baby when she's, 2, 3. But not of you. I want to see some sentences from you. You see the point? So when you're a child, you say, I think that God loves me. And they said, yes, Jesus loves you and Allah loves you and stuff like that. But when you're grown and someone's still playing that game with you, they're a charlatan and you're a dunce.